work.
You're far away.
Like, try to for her to put it.
You have the team of 7 in attendance. I'd like to welcome all the new board members to your first official meeting. We have 7 members in attendance. Okay. Ms. Ana, do we have any public comments on any specific agenda? We have none. Thank you. Dr. Perez, your superintendent's updates?
We'd like to provide an update, and we are extremely happy that we are able to provide the PCR COVID testing at our own stadium. The minute that we heard that Hidalgo County would be able to provide the kiosk funded by the CARES Act money, we immediately jumped on the opportunity. Okay, someone needs to mute. Okay, I'll go ahead and start again. One of the updates is the fact that we received the kiosk for COVID-19 testing, and that kiosk arrived over the weekend, and our staff was out there to receive it. That kiosk is fully staffed. They will have 5 staff members manning the kiosk and alternating shifts. Now, that particular test will be free to the public if they do not have any kind of health insurance. Now, individuals that do have health insurance, they will take their health insurance. If individuals have Medicare, Medicaid, they will take that. And if we have community members, staff members, or children that do not have any type of health insurance, and I'm going to repeat, if we have community members that do not have any type of health insurance, the COVID-19 PCR test will be free of charge. What they are asking the community is, if possible, bring an identification and any type of form of insurance if you do have that. And they will be providing instructions as to how to administer the swab test. You also need to bring an email address so that you will be able to receive the results within 24 to 36 hours. And that particular test is highly effective. So we are very, very fortunate and very, very happy that we are the first school district that are providing that on-site assistance. And we will be submitted another application so that we can have another site on the north side of our school district. So another item is that beginning the second semester, we have in January 4th, we have a work day. And we know that our priority is to educate our children in a very safe and healthy environment, not only for our children, but for all of our staff. We understand that even through COVID-19, with Hurricane Hannah, our children, our staff, everyone has gone through a tremendous ordeal. And we know that in order to educate our children, we also have to take care of the social, emotional needs, as well as our staff. Therefore, I asked the executive leadership team to book Keith Davis, who was our main speaker at Convocation, our motivation speaker. And he is a former football player for the New York Giants. he not only works with adults, but also with children. So we're going to book him. Well, he's already booked for 45 to an hour on January 4th, which is our work day. He will be speaking virtually, but on site to all of our staff, our Spanish speaking employees. We will be hiring a professional translator that will translate the speech with proper intonation and voice, and they will be hearing it at another time, because in the past we did have our own staff translating. Right now, the most efficient and effective manner of translating will be to utilize a professional translator. In the same manner, we know that many of our children don't even want to turn on the cameras for online virtual instruction. And 80% of our children come from low socioeconomic homes. Many of them feel that they don't want to show the surroundings in their homes. And so he is also going to be speaking with our children about being present and just motivate them with what's going on right now. And so we want him to talk to all of our high school students. That will happen on the 5th. Then he will also speak on the 4th in the afternoon to one of our high schools, and then our athletic students in person. And then on the 5th, he will be speaking to another high school in person to our athletes. We also talked to our junior high campus administrators, and they felt that our junior high kids also need that positive talk, and we will also be working with him on the 6th, and he does an amazing job working with children. So we're very, very excited that we were able to book Keith Davis, and we will be kicking off the spring semester with that motivational talks. And that is the update that I have for tonight. Thank you.
Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee. Is that Dr. Roberts?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Perez, members of the audience. Transforming Teaching and Learning does have two items that we're bringing forward this evening. The first is the approval of our pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 Systems Adoption Committee members. The State Board of Education issued Proclamation 2021 at its June 19th meeting. This proclamation calls for the adoption of our English and Spanish pre-kindergarten systems. The local education agency sets its own policies for selecting instructional materials for their students, but must include the requirement that materials are selected in an open meeting, as per Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Mission CISD's process includes the selection of the District Instructional Materials Committee members, which consists of teacher representatives from each campus. The superintendent or her designee is a member and will serve as the chair of the committee. The role of the Instructional Materials Committee is to examine the different systems available and all the materials on the state adopted site approved by the State Board of Education. After the committee reviews the adoptions with the campus teachers vote. All teachers that are going to be using the system vote. The committee is planning to make the final recommendation of the publishers to the superintendent and the board of trustees at the March meeting. In your packet, you should have all the committee members identified by campus for pre-K 4 as well as pre-K 3 and an alternate if need be. And you should also have the timeline for the adoption process. So today, we're bringing before you for your approval the adoption committee. And then in January, we'll start reviewing all of the different publishers and all of the materials that they have. And we'll go through the process of voting and bring a final selection, hopefully at the March board meeting, which will give us ample time to purchase the pre-K systems for the 21-22 school year. Are there any questions on the pre-K adoption?
Questions?
I so move.
No, we're
Okay.
not voting today. No.
It'll be for next week. Yes, ma'am. The next item that the Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee has is the purchase of laptop computers for staff. And I will turn that over to Ms. Risica, our Executive Director for Special Programs and School Improvement. Ms. Risica?
Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Dr. Pettis, and the Board of Trustees. Tonight, we are looking to award the purchase of laptop computers for instructional staff in order to meet the technology needs of virtual instruction. Due to the current COVID-19 pandemic and as per the Texas Education Agency guidance, Mission CISD continues to offer students the opportunity to either attend in-person instruction at their assigned campus or continue to attend virtually. At the present time, we have over 90% of our students engaging remotely from home. And based on a current survey, that number is likely to see a minimal decrease in the months ahead. The majority of district teachers are also engaged in remote delivery of instruction from their homes. In order to meet the instructional delivery and technology needs of teachers, and to ensure the highest quality instruction, updated and efficient laptop devices need to be purchased. The district is currently surveying teaching staff to get an idea of our current inventory, and this information will be utilized to determine a final count and equitable distribution. Based on current information, the district is looking to purchase approximately 1,000 devices. The purchase will be made using a purchasing cooperative, using an interlocal purchase co-op complies with purchase requirements of TEC 44.031 and local board policy requiring an approved purchasing method for contracts valued at $50,000 or more. The district is currently soliciting pricing information. The funding for this project will be paid through federal funds at an estimated cost of $1.2 million. We will be asking for the board's approval to purchase of laptop computers for instructional staff in order to meet the technology needs of virtual instruction. Thank you.
Ms. Risica,
Yes, ma'am.
what you said the funding was coming from?
From federal funds.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We're now moving to the facility.
I have a question on that
environmental-
one. Can I ask, please?
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
a question on those computers. You said that you would be ordering 1,000
Yes, we're
devices, and
looking
this
at,
would be for staff, for the teachers, or general staff, office, or what? More specific as to what? Teachers?
they will be, yes,
Classroom.
instructional staff.
This would be
Instructional
for the
staff.
instructional staff. Okay.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
didn't get that. I'm sorry.
It will be for those people, those staff members that are providing virtual instruction from home.
Uh-huh.
So it may not be limited to just teachers. It could be instructional aides that are also
Or-
assisting from home. But it will not be for office clerks and staff members. It'll be for those that are, the purpose is to assist those teachers
With
with
the children.
providing. Yes, ma'am.
Everything that has to
Yes.
do with it, with the students.
Yes, ma'am.
And if I may add, right now we have teachers utilizing things that we had in the classrooms, whether it was an old tablet, a Chromebook, an iPad, or they're utilizing their own. Now, also, we know that we do have like CTE that has been ordering laptops for their teachers. So most of them already have a laptop. We also know that Fine Arts placed an order for laptops. So this would be for regular ed teachers and even these will be for teachers that do not have the laptops. So we want to make sure, and like remember that we brought in our technicians during the summer, and they took they were very careful in looking at what we had in stock at every campus. They fixed things that needed to be fixed, and that's what we have out there. Our staff is using what we currently had. And then we placed some orders, small orders of Chromebooks and things that vendors were able to provide at the time. but we still have a big order that's, they can't tell us when that would be arriving. And some of those Chromebooks were going to be utilized for students and teachers as well. But we were able to find these laptops that we will be receiving ASAP.
Hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay. How did we come up with the 1,000? Is that all we need?
We looked at our funding, and we also surveyed our staff, and we looked at our inventory.
All
Because
right.
like I said, CTE teachers, they have already received theirs, and various programs have purchased special ed and so forth. So we looked at our inventory, and then we also surveyed our staff.
So
That's
the
how we
1,000.
came up with that.
So the 1,000 should cover the rest.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's a good idea as to having the different programs like the CT and the fine arts, and I'm sure that, and special ed, if they can buy their own, that way that we can their own computers for their particular departments. That helps a lot with giving
Yes.
those that are in real need right now, because I've heard, some of them are not working and they're
Absolutely.
broken, and so that's a good point of bringing out the different
Yes.
groups of or the different
Exactly.
you know
And we do a lot of collaboration with curriculum and instruction in terms of communications, making sure that we're all moving in the same direction and working together, communicating, because that's the only way that we will get the tools that our staff so desperately needs. And we've provided what we've had, but a lot of those devices are on their last leg, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word. Okay. Yes, they are.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Dr. Perez, you want to pick it up there? Number 5?
Mr. Rivera?
Thank you, Dr. Perez. Good evening, President Rogers, members of the board. On behalf of the Operations Division, we'd like to welcome and congratulate Dr. Gonzalez, Ms. Iglesias, Mr. Vela. Welcome back. Congratulations, Mr. Zamora. It's glad to have a fine board. And again, we're being led by Dr. Perez, who's a wonderful superintendent. Our agenda item, I'll refer that to Mr. Joel Garcia. He's our Executive Director for Information Systems and Technology.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Perez. Today, we're presenting an informational item on technology agreements and fee structures. Mission Consolidated Independent School District Mobile Device Initiative will ensure that students in grades pre-K through 12 have regular, equitable access to the digital tools and resources that allow them to be successful learners outside of school day and during virtual instruction. The district will provide students in grades pre-K through 12 devices that can expand their learning opportunities beyond the walls of Mission CISD schools. The Mobile Device Student Parent Agreement provides guidance and fees direction if a mobile device or power adapter or hotspot are damaged, lost, or stolen. District staff need to work, of course, we want to emphasize that district staff do need to work with our community, with the parents, in all scenarios to ensure the continuity of instruction and work with payment plans and things like that for our parents. In your board packet, you should have received a copy of the mobile device agreement, and I'd like to open it up to see if there's any questions at this time.
Where would it be?
It's on page,
So we don't have it.
no, you do have it.
We
It
do?
starts in your packet. It starts on page, hold on. It starts on page, oh, hold on. Okay, you look at page 7. After page 7 of the packet, mobile device student parent agreement. And it's, one of the things is that we've never had a one-to-one initiative where children were taking devices home and so forth. In the past, insurance wasn't purchased for these devices because they were not going home. So if you look at, yes, you all don't have a
No.
packet?
No, we don't have one.
Okay. So it talks about, accident damage. Okay, thank you. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Thank you.
okay. If,
Yeah, but we
if,
don't have it.
and we discussed all of this, in
Yeah,
with
exactly.
executive leadership team, we've got feedback and so forth. So if a child suffers an accident with their device, then we're not going to penalize them because it was an accident. If we would to be charging those devices, then parents would not want to come and pick up devices. So then we went to the next level. If it's negligence or vandalism, okay, so the first time, then we charge a $25 fee and so forth. And if our staff is able to fix it, great. If they lose it, then they're going to have to, contact PD, the Mission, the Palmhurst, or the Alton Police Department, and file a report if there was a theft, if they're missing it. Because remember, we cannot be providing gifts of funds. So we've got to have that type of inventory. So once all of this is done, then we can issue another device to the child. Now, the first time, you may think, well, if it's borderline accident, negligence, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But the second time, and as you can see, other school districts, charge a lot more. However, because we are a school district that we have 80% or more, this year we're at 84%. Okay, economically disadvantaged. Our families cannot afford to replace the whole cost of the device. So any new device that we're purchasing will have more warranty and so forth that will help. But we have great technicians that do miracles with very old machines, much less with newer. Okay, so this fee structure, as you see, it goes on the third page. And on the third page, it's delineated by the type of device, how much it cost us, the cost of the, how much it'll cost for them to give us some funding. And if they lose the device, or if they broke it intentionally, the adapter, the case, the Chromebook, how much, we're going to be asking, and so forth. It's minimal cost, but at the same time, it's accountability and responsibility that we're also trying to teach to the children. And at the same time, we're also telling our parents and our staff, if parents need to pay in payments, we'll take that as well. We're going to do whatever it takes for the children to have a replacement. Now, right now, we don't have a lot of replacements because that order of almost 12,000 units, we still haven't received. But we need to provide some accountability and teach children the value of all these devices. And all this is new because we didn't have a checkout system for our children. But we believe that it's very affordable, as you can see. And we just, and then we have a contract where the parents will acknowledge. We did not want it to be so expensive that it would deter our parents from having the children check out a device. Any questions for Mr. Garcia? Okay, yes.
And happening now, or like up to date? Are there a lot of repairs going on up to now? Or has these the situations that Dr. Perez brought up, has that been happening? Is it consistent or?
Sure. So actually, that's a great question. We haven't seen a whole lot of requests for repair of the machines. Now, again, like Dr. Perez mentioned, the computer technicians, yeah, they've done a phenomenal job of repairing some of the current Chromebooks with parts that we have, in our in storage. from some of the older devices, but for the most part, there hasn't been a lot of demand for these type of questions. As far as the replacement cost, there's been a
Yeah.
few. And in those cases, we try to, again, be gentle about the situation and guide the parents just really to cover the very small minimal cost
It is.
to the families. But there hasn't been that many, Trustee Iglesias.
I think we have to take into consideration that, let's say they do lose it or they damage these devices, they might not, or parents might not have the monies to replace them. So I'm just hoping that the students don't stay without a device because they're not paying. I think it would be something that would stay on their record, and we, like you said, paying payments,
Absolutely.
but not leave the student
No,
without
no.
a device because they
Exactly.
didn't have the money to
No.
to
And
replace it.
yes, this translates like when children check out library books. And now books are so expensive. Okay. So what do? We work with them, or when they lose textbooks, we work with them and we work with them. However, this is just so that, it provides that accountability. And then also, we also use guidance from the state of Texas also. Okay, because this is considered an instructional resource, just like a textbook. So, but as you can see, some textbooks are like $100, $50, $75, $80, depending if it's a dual credit course book and so forth. So let me tell you that this document, in terms of how much of the cost, we've revised it like how many times, Mr. Garcia? Because I kept saying, no, it's too expensive. No, it's too expensive. And yes. So we're treating it as an instructional resource, such as a textbook or a library book. So no child will be left without a device. Okay.
Next, support
Ms.
service.
Rainey, I have something to say on that.
Sorry.
On that note, we have to realize that we have never really had an insurance for these Chromebooks, especially we've been giving them to the freshmen. So they've been going out, and a lot of them have not been returning back, and they keep them at home, and a lot of them end up at the flea market. So I think that this is in the previous administration we didn't have that. We finally, got to this point as to where people are really going to be held accountable, just like the inventory for the books when they would bring them in. Now at least they can bring them in and have them checked out for the next year. So that the technicians that do a fabulous job for us can really, and all of this, it helps them be in tune as to the responsibility that they have to return them, that they belong to the school district. A lot of them, because I worked at high school, I mean, a lot of the Chromebooks would not come back. They would not be returned. So at least this way, there's more accountability that they would have to return them and, or have to pay some money. But I do agree with Betty too, that we have to make sure that every child, regardless, if there's some point in time that some child cannot pay for it, that we jump in and still assist and somehow and make sure that all our kids, all our students have their devices at all times. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. Number 6, support service.
Good evening, Madam President, Madam Superintendent, members of the board. Tonight we have 3 items for discussion. The first item is vacancy postings that we currently have, and we've conducted interviews, and we will be bringing back these items for discussion at the regular board meeting next week. The first one is the multimedia journalist, and the second one is the vacancy for the Alton Memorial Junior High School principal position. Item number 2 is the first reading of changes to board policy CV local facilities construction, and we are currently recommending that this policy be revised. And I do have a copy. If you don't have a packet with you, I can pass that on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. For the new members, this is Lorena Garcia.
Yeah. Deputy Superintendent for Support Services. She
Thank you.
oversees HR, finance, and maintenance and operations, and counseling services and nursing services.
She's a graduate of Mason High School.
Class of 91. Uh, s- So the item, can you all hear me? Okay, great. So
Can't hear you, Lorena.
in working with Mr. David. Okay,
There you are.
there I am.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So in discussion with David Hansen, our attorney, which happens to be very knowledgeable in the area of construction, he has recommended that we amend our policy, CB Local Facilities Construction. And that recommendation comes about in the procurement of construction. It's a very specialized area in the law. As a matter of fact, it has its own section in the government code, and it's shared by school districts and other municipalities. Very different from the procurement of goods and services. So in that statute, it prescribes that the board select the procurement method for each construction project and approve that, along with the relative weights and evaluation criteria. However, the recommendation from Mr. Hansen is that we amend the policy to reflect the default method of competitive seal proposal as the default method for construction projects. Now, that does not preclude the district from selecting a different method should the project necessitate that. I will tell you from the experience that our district has had and other districts as well, the vast majority of the projects will be competitive seal proposal. I would say about 90% of those projects fall under that category because of the fact that a competitive seal proposal allows for negotiation. It's not like a firm price bid that it's what they bid, that's it. There's no room for negotiation. So you do lose leverage at that point. Any changes to the construction contract have to be approved via change order. So they happen to be a lot more costly in that scenario. So competitive seal proposal is the preferred method. However, throughout the history of the district, we have had one or two projects that have been a different method. For example, the new scoreboard, that was a design build. So if we happen to need a different construction procurement method, then the policy would allow for us to bring that back to the board. So it's simply to have the policy reflect the district practice and set the default process for the procurement process of construction services. We will still have to come back to the board for the evaluation criteria, the relative weights, the prevailing wage rate, and all of that other information. And in the training that Mr. Hansen will be providing tomorrow, it will be construction related. So he will cover this as well.
Mr. Hansen, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, but I just hope that doesn't make everyone not come tomorrow, knowing that I'm going to talk about construction procurement. But I'll try to make it
That's
interesting.
our
But
attorney
that is
for
a,
the new members.
she's exactly correct, and welcome back and welcome new members. It's great to see you.
Okay. Any questions on that item? Thank you. Number 3 is informational items. We will be bringing next week the personnel employment resignations, transfers, and compensation changes as an informational item. And that concludes the support services section. Thank you.
Finance?
Yes, for the finance, we're going to have Ms. Ruiz talk about finance. However, we would like to move an item from number 8, update on the unlimited tax refunded bonds, taxable series 2020, because we have great information. We have great news to share with you, and we'd like to share it early on. So after the annual financial report or the audit, we'd like to move number 1 from number 8 to so that it can be B, and then the next item will be C, D, and E, and F. Is that correct? Is that okay? Okay, go ahead, Ms. Reese.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening. Can you hear me? Yes. Good evening, Madam President, Madam members of the board, Madam Superintendent, members in the audience. First item on the agenda is the annual financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2020. This evening, we have Mr. Aaron Rios and Carla Gomez Garcia, the district's external auditors with Carr, Rick, and Ingram, presenting this item for you. Mr. Rios and Ms. Gomez Garcia, you may proceed. Before I handed out a budget, not a budget, excuse me, an annual financial report book that is in front of you. Thank you. You may proceed. You may proceed, Mr. Rios.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Madam Superintendent Pettis. My name is Aaron Rios. I am the engagement partner. I work at Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. We have completed the financial statement audit for the year ended June 30th, 2020. And we're here to go over briefly the results of the audit. I have with me Carla Gomez. She's a supervising senior at the firm, and she's just going to provide a brief summary of the audit. So Carla, why don't you just take it away?
Okay, so you have the financial statement in front of you. So I would like to go first to the schedule of findings. So if you go to page 81, this is the schedule of findings and question costs. And this one is the one that is going to give you the results, the summary of the results of this audit. So the first one is the audit report. We issue an unmodified opinion, which is in a clean opinion. That is what you really wants to hear. There were no material weakness, no significant deficiencies related to financial statements. Also, we did an audit over the federal awards, and the opinion over those were unmodified also. So there were no problems, no findings, no material weakness, and no significant deficiencies. So in overall, it's a clean opinion, and that's what normally everyone would like to hear. Then I would like to go to G1, which is page 64. This is the budgetary comparison schedule, which includes the general fund, revenues and expenditures. So if you are there, you can see that total revenues in the year total $162,100,000. A little bit lower than what you budget, your final budget, but this is normal based on the situation. It's sometimes hard to budget exactly the amount that you're gonna get as a revenues. If you go a little bit down, actually to the next page, page 65, you're gonna see that your total expenditures in the general fund in the year were $155,000, $349,000. Which compared to the revenues that you have in the year, you got an excess of revenues over expenditures of $6,750,000. So I guess this year, just because of the situation, you got a little bit less revenues than you budget. So this is what give you an excess of revenues over the expenditure of the 6.7 million. After that, there were a little other financial sources like the sales of real or personal property for $55,000 and some transfer out to the print shop fund for $37,000. At the end, the total net change in fund balance in the general fund were $6,768,000, $524. If you add this to the beginning balance of the fund balance or last year fund balance, you ended up this year with $76,331,000 as a fund balance at the end of the year. That means as of June 30th, 2020. So it's a pretty healthy fund balance that the district has. And then I would like to go to what mainly composed those $76 million at the end of the fiscal year. If you go to page 16, page 16 has the balance sheet. And the first column, you will see the general fund. At the bottom, you're gonna see the 76,331,000 that I was talking about. You can see that that is made out of non-spendable fund balance, restricted, committed, but the biggest number in there is the unassigned fund balance, which is equal to 68,977,000. So in other words, out of the 76 million that you have as a fund balance at the end of the year, 68.9 is unassigned. So it's for any purposes the district has to spend on that. So basically that's it. Those are the highlights, balances in the year. I don't know if you want to add anything, Aaron?
No, not really. There were, we did have a few improvement points, but we've already gone over those improvement points with management. Like Carla said, there were no significant deficiencies, no findings, nothing of significance that would be reflected in the report. Management, we've gone over these items with management, and they're going to be implementing our recommendations. Otherwise, if anyone has any questions, we'll do our best to answer them.
I have a question on that, on the sale of real estate and personal property. I mean, I know it was transferred, but did I hear right to print shop? Because it was that, I didn't hear that right?
No, that's the transfers out.
It was transferred out, so it was to print.
Let me address, Carla,
I heard
please.
print shop. I don't know if I was
Yes,
hearing
on the,
right, or I just need.
go ahead, Carla, go ahead, and I can explain.
Yeah, regularly, there are some fees that the general fund has to pay the print shop to cover the printouts that you have paid with general fund. That's it.
Oh, so the money that came in from the real estate was used for that. That's generally what it is, right?
Ms. Ramirez, if you would allow me to explain, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm
Okay, so there's two items. One is the sale of real or personal property, and that's for the different auction items that may be sold from the district. And so for accounting purposes and proper financial reporting, they're recorded here. And then on the transfers out, it was 37,442. We do have an internal fund, the print shop department. It's intended to be a self-sufficient fund. However, because of this year, there was they didn't operate or they didn't have normal operations, so they had a deficiency in their revenues. And so what we did is we transferred that money. In prior years, we used to have the print shop in the general fund, but in order to meet the state requirements, we pulled it from general fund and we put it on its own. And so we do transfer a minimal amount.
Can you reiterate how much we added to fund balance this school year?
Yeah, it's $6,768,000 on the general fund, and you can see that on page 65. Almost at the bottom where you see net change in fund balance. On the actual column, you can see there's the 6.7.
And Ms. Gomez, on the unassigned fund balance, what is the recommended number of months to have in the unassigned, and how does that compare to what the district currently has?
Normally, I'll take that. Normally 3 to 4 months. And what the district currently has, give me just 1 second right now. I'm gonna just do something real quick. That translates into about 5 months. So the district has about 5 months expenditures in the fund in unassigned fund balance. Normally recommend 3 to 4 months. Which they're over the 3 to 4 months, which that's good. So of course, sometimes you don't want to have too much, but then you don't want to have too little. So healthy fund balance.
And you said healthy fund balance. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Yes.
For our district, so that we could have, because when we had 64, so $6 million in quite a bit. Thank you so much. I think the rest of I speak
yes
probably for the rest of the board, because I'm sure everybody feels the same way. We've come a long ways.
Yes, it's actually 6,768,524.
That's correct.
Are there any questions? Okay. No? Okay. Mr. Rios and Ms. Gomez Garcia, thank you for presenting this. We will be presenting this item once again at the special board meeting after we finish with a board workshop. You are welcome to disconnect and connect again later, or you're welcome to stay with us for the remaining of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Moving on to the following agenda item, update on the unlimited tax refunding bonds taxable series 2020. Administration is bringing this agenda item for your consideration. We've been working on this big project for some time already. This evening, with us, we have our our financial advisor, Mr. Chris Vela. Also, Mr. Andre Ayala with Hilltop Securities, and we should also have connected our bond legal counsel, Mr. Juan Aguilera and Mr. Humberto Aguilera from Escamilla Ponic. Oh, yes, I see Mr. Aguilera. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize him. Okay, so just to bring the board up to speed, and there's a presentation that I left on your chair. If you can reference this document, please. Back in October, administration brought this item to the board for consideration in proceeding with a plan of finance to refund the 2014A and 2014B series. And the authority was delegated to the superintendent to be the pricing officer for this transaction. We're very pleased to report that that event took place today, and the results that we have to share with you are outstanding. We surpassed all the parameters that had been approved by the board back in October. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Vela.
If I may
Oh,
add
yes, ma'am.
something.
Yes.
Okay. If I may add something before we move on, since the last couple of years, we've been looking at bonds that we owe to see how could we refund. And those of you that may not have heard the word refund, that's the same process that we do when we refinance our homes, because we're wanting to capitalize on lower interest rates. And you know that right now, interest rates are at its lowest. So we've been working on this, and we looked at it last year as well, and it wasn't a good time. So with the guidance also of our consultants, and we've been able to capitalize on this so that we are able to save millions to the school district. Also, the state funds about 55% of these bonds because they come from the instructional facilities allotment. And we fund 45% of it. So we have bonds for 110 million. However, there's different series, and the series that we will be able to refund are the ones that we're talking today. And Mr. Vela and his staff will be able to give you more information. But the projection that we were looking at, and the board did give us authority based on how much we could save, and it exceeded those limits. So we're very excited about that. So take it away, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Perez, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, district staff. My name is Chris Vela with Hilltop Securities. Also with me tonight is Andre Ayala with Hilltop Securities, financial advisors to the district. Also, as Ms. Ruiz mentioned, we also have with us today the district's bond attorneys, Mr. Juan Aguilera and Humberto Aguilera as well. We are very excited and have very, very good news to present this evening. The district had a very successful outing today in the bond market. Just to give you a little bit of color, and my partner Andre will talk in terms of the details on the presentation, but just to give you a little bit of color, the transaction went out into the market at around 8:30 this morning and concluded at about 11 to 1 o'clock today. The transaction was oversubscribed by approximately 7 times. What that means that we had 7 times the amount of orders than bonds available, which is a very good indication because it usually results in the ability of the senior underwriter and co-managers to negotiate with purchasers a lower interest cost. In addition, we'd like to also mention, for your information, that local participants from the area were Texas Regional Bank that bought some of your debt, Lone Star Bank, as well as Frost Bank. So we're very, very pleased with the results that we got, and the results will speak for themselves as my partner will detail here in a minute. Andre?
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, board members, Dr. Perez, everybody. Good evening. This is Andre Ayala with Hilltop Securities. I'm Chris's partner at the firm, and I work with Mission CISD. Some of you have seen me before, and for those that have not, again, I've been working with the district for a number of years now, and I'm very pleased and excited to discuss the successful and outstanding results of your bond refinancing. Since we started this process, we talked about refinancing some of the district's debt just to lower interest rates and take advantage of the current environment. So what happened this morning is that we went out to the marketplace to refinance almost $45 million of the district's bonds that were paying anywhere between 3 and 5% in interest, fixed, and they would mature in 2036. The first step was to come to the board, discuss this issue, and under Dr. Perez's guidance, along with Mrs. Ruiz and her staff, we went to the bond rating agencies. In spite of what's going on in the world with the pandemic, the economic situation, the district was able to maintain its investment grade ratings by both Moody's and S&P. Moody's maintained the A1 rating, and S&P maintained the A+ rating for the district. On top of that, we applied for the Permanent School Fund Guarantee of Texas. So the district's bonds carry a AAA investment grade rating based on the Permanent School Fund, and as outlined, an A1 Moody's rating and then A+ Standard & Poor's rating. As Chris was indicating, we had minimum parameters to meet here, and the bottom line to cut through the noise was we needed to save at least a penny or more as tax rate savings. What that meant in financial mathematics was our net savings needed to be 9% or more of the refinanced amount. So to give you a feel of what those numbers were like, the minimum savings that we needed to hit were roughly $4.5 million. And the end result was almost $5.6 million for the life of the bonds.
Excuse me, Andre.
Or metric that we needed to. Yes, ma'am.
Can you please refer them to the page number on the presentation, just so that we all can follow along? Thank you, sir.
That will be slide 4.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So our minimum savings that we wanted to hit was roughly $4.5 million, and we got almost $5.6 million, which is an increase of $1 million over the minimum threshold that we wanted to have. Our interest rate, which is fixed all the way through maturity in 2036, it is 1.68% fixed, which it is an outstanding result. If you continue in that handout and you look at slide 5, you can see that the savings were structured in such a way that the district could translate those savings into a tax rate equivalent. As Dr. Perez was mentioning, the district carries roughly 45% of the debt. And the way the savings are structured based on existing numbers and values that the state has and the appraisal district have, we would be looking at a little bit more than 1 cent in tax rate savings, which is, to give you an exact number, 1.24 pennies as tax rate savings. So moving on, and I'm just going to wrap up here in slide number 9. So this morning, again, we had the pricing, which was delegated, and if the minimum standards were met, Dr. Perez, as the pricing officer, had the authority to execute the transaction. So what we have in front of you is just a summary of what happened, and we are ready to close this deal subject to the Attorney General's approval on December 30th of 2020. At that point in time, money exchanges hands. It goes to the escrow agent for payment of the refinanced bonds, and the transaction is closed. So congratulations to the board, Dr. Perez, Mrs. Ruiz, and thank you for allowing us to participate as part of the district's financing team.
Thank you. All of
Well,
you.
it was a total team effort. Thank you for your support.
Does the board have any questions for the financial advisor or bond legal counsel? Anyone have any questions? No?
A
Okay.
big thank you. Keep it up. Bring more. We love it when we have money coming into the district, whatever, you know. So just keep it
Madam
up.
President, I would like to thank the board for your confidence. It's a very lengthy process, and of course, the Madam Superintendent for trusting administration and pulling forward with this transaction. This is the third refund.
No, I think it's your connection.
Okay, now you're on. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can go ahead and add, since 2014, the district has been refunding. We can hear you now. Go ahead.
The last, since 2014, we had, válgame. There? Okay.
Okay.
I can see Mr. Hansen. In total, we've saved about $23 million. Sorry. Okay, so thank you once again, and we'll continue doing our best to share this great news with the board and with Dr. Perez. Thank you. Okay, no questions on
Thank
this?
you for the great work.
Thank you for all you
Thank
do.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, may we move to the next item, Madam President? Okay, next item is renew agreement to partner with Nuestra Clínica del Valle for school-based health clinic. This evening, we also have joining us, excuse me, can the board please excuse the financial advisor and the bond legal team? Okay.
Yes, thank you all very
Thank
much.
you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. We have Lucy Torres with Nuestra Clínica del Valle. She's the Chief Executive Officer for the clinic. The school district is bringing forward this agenda item for the board's consideration. We have had a partnership with the clinic since 2004, and that agreement it's been renewed since then, and the current agreement expires at the end of this calendar year. And Nuestra Clínica officials reached out to the district to renew the agreement once again for another 5-year term. And it is in the best interest of the district to continue with this partnership, as as you may know, the clinic is located in the Alton area, and they provide services to our families in the area that may not be able to afford medical services otherwise. And so we're bringing a recommendation for your consideration at next week's meeting to continue this partnership. Ms. Lucy Torres, once again, is joining us tonight in case you have any questions. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, before we continue, I just want the board to note that the Clínica del Valle, the facility is owned by the district, and it is housed by in the grounds of Alton Memorial Junior High. So the district has had that agreement that they are able to utilize that facility because we know that we reap the benefits because our children, our families will be served. So that facility belongs to the school district.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Torres, do you have any information to share with the board tonight? Oh, please unmute yourself, Ms. Torres.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, we
yes.
can.
Okay, good evening, Dr. Pettis and trustees. I didn't hear what Ms. Reese said at the end, but pretty much what I wanted to share with you is that, you know, we do serve at the Alton Memorial Clinic, we serve approximately 88% of the individuals that we serve are uninsured. And, you know, the fact that, you know, we're located in a pretty area of high need, and we've been very successful in continuing and expanding the services. And one of the things that I'd like to bring to your attention is that we have a licensed professional counselor on site that can provide counseling for the children and or their families. We basically expanded our services to include behavioral health services, which are, you know, part of the integrated, integrating behavioral health with primary care. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you for all your work over there.
Well, thank you for the partnership. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Vela? Can't hear you.
There. How many people do we service on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis? They're just wondering because I know that that's where a lot of the need, the people that are the most need and the most uninsured, and just wanted to know if you could give the board a rundown or an average number of people that come to your clinic.
Yes, as a matter of fact, last year we served approximately 3,100 individuals. To date, from January to I believe it was October, we served approximately 1,857. And one of the things that happened this year, of course, is the pandemic. And we were closed. We had to shut down that particular clinic for approximately 3 months because of the PPE shortage. And so we basically moved the staff to the Mission Clinic located on North Bryan Road, and we were still providing the services. We were successful in securing, you know, additional funding that allowed us to continue having all the staff, and so we didn't need to lay off anybody. We didn't furlough anybody. You know, even though some of the services, like the dental services, were basically closed. And so we repurposed the staff, and, you know, everybody was doing either screenings, you know, temperature checks, and, you know, and at the Memorial Clinic, pretty much on a, you know, on a normal operations, we see about 30 patients a day with one provider.
Ma'am, another question is, how do patients pay for the care?
Well, the charges for the patients are based on their family size and income, and they pay nominal fees. And so patients have to go through the registration process, and in order for us to slide and adjust all their charges, we need their proof of income, their, you know, just regular information for the file, because of the funding that we receive from the federal government. You know, we are required to maintain those records up to date before we give patients discounts. Everyone is served regardless of their ability to pay. If a patient doesn't have the means to pay, they're still seeing, no one's denied services, because of the, lack of funding or lack of financial, status.
Well, thank you so much for the great work that you do.
Thank
Our
you.
children and
Torres.
families are the benefactors.
Thank you.
Mrs. Torres, how many? Unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, my question is, on your counseling, you said that you, how many have you, how many kids or adults or whatever, how many do you do throughout the year? Do you have a lot of counseling going?
Right now we're seeing a lot. We're seeing a lot of the individuals. We have one LPC and she's averaging 10 to 12 patients a day. And that has really spiked. And as you know, because of the pandemic, we are seeing a lot more clients that are, undergoing either depression, stress, anxiety. There's domestic violence. There's, just substance abuse. And so we've seen an increase in that. And so we're, like I said, between 10 to 12 a day, and that's pretty high.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Torres, for everything that you do.
Dr. Perez, I'd like to add that our campus nurses do provide vouchers to our students. So our students are directly served by Nuestra Clínica del Valle. So, and those vouchers are funded by our federal program. So they're able to obtain the services.
But vouchers to who?
To families.
Yeah, but how do you pick your
The
families?
nurses, the nurses, they follow a criteria and they refer them to the clinic with the vouchers.
The student has to request, or the families have to request, or the nurses just recommend that those students go and get this?
They would come see the nurse for services, and then the nurse, depending on the situation, or if the family requested as well, they would evaluate that and provide them with a voucher.
Also, our parent liaisons are able to do those recommendations as well, knowing the type of services that we have, because they know the families, especially where they're checking on children, why they're not coming to school, or our AROs, and they find out that mom and dad are saying, well, the child is sick, but we don't have a way to take them to a medical facility. So that's where they activate and provide this type of service. Are we done with that item? I believe that item C is going to be moved to information because there's a mistake. It is not renewal. As a matter of fact, that contract was approved by the board for 3 years. So it is an informational item. Is that correct? Contract with the Center for Primary Care and Wellness. Ms. Garcia, would you like to add anything, or Ms. Ruiz?
Madam Superintendent, may we dismiss Ms. Lucy Torres? Ms. Torres, you're welcome to disconnect, or you're welcome to continue joining us in the meeting.
Oh,
sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, you want me to present that item right now? Yes, you are correct.
Okay, I was under the understanding that it's going to be
Yes.
moved to information.
Yes, ma'am.
See?
Yes, it was.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And are we still going to get
Okay,
information as to what's going on?
Yeah, yes,
Yes,
yes, you're going to get the information under information. Okay, we're moving it down just the way we moved the bonds up.
Okay.
It is in the wrong category because it states renew. That's a mistake. Instead, we are providing information to you on a contract that was awarded.
Okay.
Okay, and that contract was awarded for 3 years.
Right.
And
right.
once that we saw the mistake and we said, and that's what we usually do at the board workshop. If for some reason, something needs to be moved. So when it goes to the board meeting next week, it'll be in the right section. Okay. But we will talk about it tonight under information.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. That item normally would have required board approval, but it doesn't require board approval because it was already approved a year ago. Okay? Go ahead. Huh? Yes, we will discuss it. It's being moved to information.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Perez. Item D, bids, proposals, and purchases of 50,000 and over. Item A, contract for employee uniforms, number 320-20-0. Administration is bringing this item to, in order for the district to purchase uniforms for various departments that require that employees wear uniforms. In accordance with state requirements, the district solicited requests for proposals. We did receive 5 responses, and administration will be bringing next week a recommendation to approve Prudential overall supply. This item was evaluated from the 4 different departments: child nutrition program, transportation, maintenance, and warehouse. And the recommendation would be for 1 year with an option to renew for another year. And the estimated amounts are $78,000. Item 2, contract for Mission CISD Annex Network Cable Drops and On-Call Network Cabling, number 344-21-0. This item is bring forward to your consideration to support the annex building, as the district acquired that property in May. And the district has been working in fixing that facility so that we can relocate various departments, including information systems, technology systems, safety and security, and the fixed assets warehouse, textbook and records management. However, the district needs, or the facility needs 347 network cable drops. We did receive 3 responses. The item was evaluated, and administration will be bringing a recommendation for next week for the contract for network cabling drops at Mission CISD Annex Building and on-call, cabling services 344-21-0 to Telepro Communications. The estimated cost is $77,423. Item 3 is the purchase of instructional staff laptop computers. This item was earlier discussed with by Ms. Kim Risica. Administration will be the purchase utilizing an interlocal purchasing co-op, and this complies with the requirements from the state. The funding source is federal funds, Title I, and the estimated cost is $1,200,000. Moving on, item E, donations. In accordance with board policy, CDC legal, all bequests of property for the benefit of the public schools shall, when not otherwise directed by the grantor, vest the property in the board. Funds or other property donated or the income therefrom may be expended for any purpose that is designated by the donor or for any legal purpose if the donor designated no specific purpose. Throughout the year, the district receives several donations, mainly at the campuses and to benefit our students. For this period, we're bringing this item with total donations made in the amount of $4,841.02. The largest cash donation was $1,515, and the non-cash donation was $1,530. Administration will be bringing a recommendation to approve the donations next week, as all donations benefit our students. Moving on to item 8, informational items. We already discussed item 1. Item 2, the financial report for the months of September and October of 2020. Every month, we bring you a general fund and debt service report and a self-funded health insurance funds. For the general fund in the month of September, the total revenues were $28,760,816, and expenditures were $22,825,284. And for the month of October, the revenues were $42,630,228, and the actual expenditures were $36,818,535. Excess revenues over expenditures and other sources and uses was $5,843,000. Once again, this is an informational item. For the debt service for the month of October, the revenue was $189,926, And the expenditures were $2,207,422. The next item, item C, is the self-funded health insurance fund.
Okay, that particular one, I'm sorry, no, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So for the month of September, for the self-funded health insurance, the revenues were $3,304,606, and the total expenditures were $3,754,014. The income loss before any contributions and transfers was $448,000. However, we do have a beginning net position of $956,250, bringing the end position for the month at $507,000. We did experience 5 large claims in the month of September. That's what drove the cost to have excess expenditures over revenues in the month of September. For the month of September, excuse me, we reported that that the operating amount was that we were actually on the positive. However, we were not expecting these large claims. Also, I do want to share with the board that as of today, we've had $342,000 and 398 cents in claims related to COVID. And so we're starting to see those in the different financial reports that we bring to the board. So in July, we paid $342,000, in August, $207,000, and in the month of September, $15,740. I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't hear you.
From 3,000 in July, it went up to 15.
No.
Did you say 15?
342,000. 342,000 in July, in August, 207,000, and then in September, 15,000.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I apologize. It was 342,000. And then for the month of October, and then we have some presentations for you, but I'm going to jump to the October month to give you the most up-to-date information. So for the month of October, we had $4,400,004 in revenues, and expenditures, we had $4,800,737. So we were, for the month, we're reporting an operating loss of $396,000. But because we had that a positive net position, the position at the end of the month is $560,000. And then we give you a breakdown of the revenue and the different expenditures. And we do have a 12-month trend in medical claims. You will see that they have started to increase. And then we also have for the pharmacy. And we also have Zach Gingrich, the district's insurance consultant, joining us tonight. Zach, if you would like to add something, please. Or does the board have any questions for Mr. Zach at this moment? Sylvia? We also have Sylvia Cruz, our Director for Employee Benefits, Risk Management, and Health Insurance. And
Do we have this in handouts?
it's uploaded on BoardBook, Mr. Yerba?
Yeah,
It's
I'm
on
seeing
BoardBook.
it, but do we have?
I didn't bring handouts, but I can give you my copies if you would like.
Later, it's fine.
Yeah, we can provide the handout. We can provide it for next.
I'll get you copies right now. We'll print them here at Brian.
Okay. Zach, is there something that you would like to add to the discussion?
No, unless there's any other questions. The fund this year has been very unique, just given the pandemic. Across the board, we have seen claims trickle downward.
We couldn't hear you.
Can y'all hear me? Hello, can y'all hear me?
He's with audio.
Now we can.
Okay, I apologize about that. Good evening, Madam President, Board, and Dr. Perez, Superintendent. Unless there's any other questions, this year has obviously been a very unique year with the pandemic. We are seeing claims, the district being self-insured. The claims, the fund balance is going to be a direct reflection of the claims, and just with the pandemic, the claims have been trickled down. So it is a unique year that we're experiencing. So to the best of our ability, and I know administration and staff as well, we're trying to monitor that. But it is trending in the positive direction. So years past, I mean, it always does fluctuate. So unless there's any other questions, we're open to those.
We can't hear you.
Can y'all hear me now?
We can hear you. It was.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And then just to finish up, no? Okay, just to finish up the presentation on the net position overview, you will start noticing that with in this last fiscal year, we started to see a positive net position compared to last year. And that was due to different efforts the district implemented throughout the year. This last fiscal year, we did have increases in premiums, 7%, both employer and employee contributions. We also had the clinic. We didn't have large claims before June 30th, which helped the district end with a positive net position as reflected in the audited financial statements. And that's all I have for this item.
We also worked on the medical and pharmacy plan, and that brought considerable savings.
Yes.
Isn't that correct, Zach? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct, Dr. Perez. There was a number of changes that we made in the past really 2 years, both on the pharmacy side of things as well as the medical plan. On the pharmacy side, there was both a change in the formulary as well as the network. And these both steered employees to the most cost-effective, but yet still medications that were both cost-effective, but clinically the most effective medications as well, with the pharmacy benefit manager that is Prime. On the medical side of things, there was a direct clinical contract, as well as some continued negotiation conversations happening with multiple healthcare systems that were trying to steer employees to deeper discounts that were negotiated and arranged. In return for the additional discounts that are negotiated, the employees do benefit from a lower copay. So from the employee's perspective and their dependents that are on the plans, they are having lower out-of-pocket expenses by utilizing this facility. So what that has done is it has translated to a number of savings for the district, both on the pharmaceutical side, just with the medications being filled, and then again on the medical side, utilizing the most cost-effective facilities for the district with additional discounts, and then again for the employees, they are experiencing lower out-of-pocket by having a lower copay, regardless of the 3 plans they do choose from.
Yes. Also, Zach, one of the things that we know is that flu shots, we've had several entities come and provide flu shots. I don't know who would like to talk about that and the cost, Ms. Garcia or Ms. Cruz?
Well, Ms. Cruz has the history on that. She has the numbers of how much we are currently paying for flu shots and how many employees have been served this year. Ms. Cruz?
Okay.
Everybody hear me?
No.
Yes.
Now we can.
Now? Good evening, members of the board, superintendent. I'm happy to announce that we've been able to host this year flu clinics for our district employees throughout the month of September and October. In October, we were able to work with PCW, our primary physician clinic, and they were able to dispense 156 flu shots in different campuses. Pearson, we did 29 employees, VMA test 28, Salinas Elementary 34, Bryan 15, Alton 9, and Marcel 10. And we also did a central office flu clinic. We had 29 employees actually get the flu clinic at central office. As far as the cost, I was able to contact the 2 providers. With 156, that was PCW. I did contact their office because just to share the cost. So basically, and Zach can validate these numbers as well. Dr. Stinson's office, we reimburse his office, the plan, $35.84 per flu shot. The vaccine itself, is billed. There's two elements to flu shot cost. It's going to be the vaccine itself and then the administration fee. So you have to combine those two items. So the net reimbursement cost to Dr. Stinson is $35.84. I was also able to contact Richard's Pharmacy, and we reimbursed them on an average about $33.06. So I don't know, Zach, if you want to mention, I know you contacted Blue Cross Blue Shield as far as what is the rate here in the Valley?
Correct. Yeah, thank you. Yes, the rate that we're seeing within the general area is about $34 to $35 is the general price for a flu shot. Under the passing of the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, flu shots are a preventative treatment, so they are covered in full by the plan. So in this instance, the district. So it is no out-of-pocket expense to your employees. But within the area, we are seeing the average price within $34 to $35, and even just on a statewide basis or even a national basis, that is pretty standard simply because the flu shot is a very standardized medication and preventative measure that takes place. So to Ms. Cruz's point, that's exactly right. The pricing we're seeing in the general area is $34 to $35.
In addition to that, back in January, we did do some preventative services with Dr. Stinson's office or PCW at the campuses. And that was between the month of January and March, and we stopped at that point because of COVID, so we couldn't go and visit the campuses. So he was able to visit with 173 employees and get the lab work done and, meet with them and consult with them at that point. So we're going to continue doing that in the future as well.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
How many employees receive flu shots in the district? How many employees or families that are insured with the employee receive flu shots?
Zach, do you have those numbers on the utilization rates?
And the reason I ask is because one of the, as we all know, right now we're in the middle of flu season, and this morning we did receive some reports, and I work for Driscoll Health Plan, MCO, Managed Care Organization, Medicaid organization, and one of the things that I did see is that the average cost is about $31 to $35 per flu shot. But I remember in 2014 and I believe 2015, I think that Petra was here and Minnie Rogers was here. One of the things that we did and one of the leverages that we have and the great things we have as a school district is that we're self-insured. And so I know that at one time we were paying $27 to $32 for a flu shot. And one of the things we did was we made an agreement with the hospital. You see, providers, physicians, they charge a host, they get charged them a certain price. Pharmacies get charged a different price. But hospitals get a discounted price on flu shots because they order by the bulk. So one of the things that we did was we made an agreement as a district to go with a hospital entity and save $10 a vaccine, a flu shot. So I think, and so I'm seeing this, that we're paying $35, $33 to Richards Pharmacy, $35 to PCW, to Dr. Stinson. I think that we're in the best of both worlds because I think that we should be able to pay $22 to $25 for a vaccine. Exactly, but we're self-insured. So what my point to that is, because when you're self-insured, you're able to leverage and work out agreements as long as you save money. The goal in mind is to save money. Put that money that you save in the insurance fund, because the goal of all of us as board members is to increase the insurance reserves so that ultimately we can decrease insurance premiums, employee contributions.
Absolutely. And we can certainly, we will look into that.
Because I saw that and I know, but ultimately from the provider standpoint, because right now they're hurting. And I can tell you because I've been calling mid-level physicians in the mid-level, in the mid-valley, in the upper valley, lower valley. And so people are hurting financially. So cutting $10 for PCW would be a significant financial impact.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Now,
when you leverage an agreement with a hospital facility such as DHR or any hospital facility that can afford to give and save and pay less. I mean, for us to pay $25 versus 35. And so what I would like to know is if we can somehow reach out and see what we can do as far as maybe can Dr. Stinson charge us less so that we can save more money.
Absolutely, we can certainly contact the hospitals and see, what can we do. And then, with procurement regulations, we can always go back and renegotiate.
Absolutely.
Because of the fact that our employees like it, when they come to us or because it's close by or so forth. But the bottom line is, where are we going to save and make
Exactly.
our insurance premiums affordable?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's what we're about. So we thank you for giving us that idea, and we're going to pursue it. And then we'll work with Zach as well. Yes, do you,
Dr. Perez,
I have
Dr.
a quick
Perez,
question.
Okay, before I do that, I just wanted to talk about the fact that right now doctors' offices have very limited flu shots. They are becoming very scarce.
Yeah.
Okay, but we will certainly follow that. And I know,
Dr.
Dr. Perez.
Yes,
Dr.
Can I say
Perez.
something?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. So is there any way, can you all hear me?
Yes.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So is there any way that before we even reach out to the hospital, we reach out to Dr. Stinson and Richard's Pharmacy to see if maybe we can negotiate a price with them and not have to reach out to the hospital? I think that we need to give them the opportunity to work with us before we reach out to the hospital.
And as a matter of fact, like I said, instead of renew contract, it should have been, review what we have and all of that. But we'll look at what's competitive. Now, Dr. Stinson, as we talked before, he's already given us discounts in terms of doctor's visits and so forth. And he works very well with Blue Cross Blue Shields. He whatever the standard is, that's what he uses or below. But they're very willing to also work with us. So these ideas we're going to bring up. I know that as of today, Dr. Stinson had like 70 flu shots left. A lot of doctors' offices are hurting for flu shots.
Yes.
But that's an option for us to pursue. Really. And you were going to say something, Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Zamora? Mr. Zamora, you were going to
Yes,
ask.
are we currently, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Are we currently looking into making a new agreement with any hospital at this time?
So that's what I wanted to share. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Go ahead,
so
go ahead.
that's in addition to what Dr. Perez was saying, we're certainly going to look at that, the flu shots, but we are currently working with a consultant to actually, and he'll talk about it. Just so you know, we ran reports as of today, and we have paid Doctors Hospital of Renaissance from November 2019 to October 2020, $799,000. So we've been working with the hospitals to see if we can go into a direct agreement when it comes to inpatient hospital services. And Zach, can you already just brief the board of the negotiations you're talking with the 3 hospitals?
Absolutely, Ms. Cruz. Yes. So within the area, multiple healthcare systems, both DHR, there is a prominent healthcare system called Healthcare Corporation of America, HCA, that has actually recently expanded their services offered in the area. We are exploring multiple strategies within these healthcare systems. So one of those is to a similar strategy that was adopted in years past, and similar to Dr. Stinson's clinic, is that we offer a tiered lower copay in exchange for additional discounts. So that will both be beneficial to the employees with lower deductibles for inpatient services, and as a result, the district will experience additional discounts. The other option that we're exploring is a little more creative opportunity, but offering a managed network and a plan that tries to focus on these facilities, and again, in exchange for additional discounts, while also ensuring that the employees are having the access to care that they need when utilizing the health insurance. So we have started those negotiations already. Those are things that typically will take will be in force upon the renewal on October 1st. But nonetheless, here in December, this is the time to start those negotiations. So we are looking at those opportunities. And of course, when it comes to a presentation phase, we'll have the projected savings and what that would translate for both the employees and the districts from a financial perspective. But we are talking multiple healthcare systems within the area.
Mr. Zach, just a quick question. Are you the one interviewing the hospitals, or is that with you and Mrs. Cruz together? Or how does that work?
We're starting the conversation, and similar to what we did with the clinic with Dr. Stinson, we'll bring it into a committee and the full administration, so it's a full team effort as far as the interview process goes and the evaluation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz.
You're welcome. Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Madam President, may I present the item that was pulled from the discussion to information item, since we are talking about, okay. Okay, so this item is the contract with the Center for Primary Care and Wellness. At the December 18, 2019 regular Board of Trustees meeting, the board approved the contract with the center. Please mute yourself. The board approved the contract with the Center for Primary Care Wellness for a 3-year term. The intent of this contract is to provide additional benefits to district employees and increase the district's wellness program. PCW is conveniently accessible within the city of Mission to provide quality, preventative care, and other related services to district employees. The services include, but not limited to, routine office visits, immunizations and injections, minor office surgery, office labs, radiology, etc. District employees are allowed to access the services for a reduced copay of $10 per visit, regardless of which medical plan they're enrolled in. In addition to the reduced copay, there are some other benefits to district employees, such as guaranteed same-day appointments, minimum waiting times, flexible hours, free on-site employee health and wellness outreach services, treatment of work-related injuries or illnesses as part of a workers' compensation network of providers for the district's insurance plan, and compliance with the district's pharmacy formulary pharmacy drug list to ensure employees are prescribed both cost-effective and formulary medications. The direct contracting arrangement was not intended to replace the availability of network providers on the Blue Cross Blue Shield network, but rather as an enhancement through a direct arrangement with the district. Also, we did receive some statistics, as you can see there, under administrative considerations for the past 12 months. The clinic has had 1,213 visits. Average per other clinic is 32. Paid per service is $82.73. Average for other clinics is $253. Paid per claimant or patient is $163.71. The average for other clinics is $301.97. Total paid claims was 100,351, and we receive additional discounting of 9%. Based on the utilization and cost metrics, which reflect savings to the district, and in consideration of the added benefits to the district employees, administration had brought this item as to continue the partnership with PCW. The funding source, of course, is the self-funded insurance fund, and this item is brought as an informational item. We will be starting the second year of a 3-year term. Are there any questions?
Is there anywhere in the clinic where employees or people that are insured through Mission CISD can fill out a questionnaire of how it was, how was their service, how was their visit, did they like it, any ways we can improve so that we can turn our weaknesses to our strengths?
Our staff is very good about communicating when they feel, especially in the beginning, areas for improvement, and also areas for,
No, but I mean, like in the
yes,
clinic, like in
like a
the
survey over with,
in the
yes.
clinic, like for example, like we have a Driscoll Quick
Yes.
Care clinic that's open till midnight, right? And so every patient, or at least the parents, are encouraged to do a survey. on every visit so that administration and management knows what they can work on to improve, especially if it's, and so I was just wondering, is there something in place already at the clinic so that we can look at as a board or just see every once in a while what we can improve on?
Sure. We, I know that he's had some things in the past. We will communicate with them as well.
Are there any further questions? No? Okay, now I'm gonna get back on the agenda. Item 3 is the tax levy adjustments for the month of October. The Hidalgo County Assessor and Collector has been collecting the district's taxes since December 1999, and both current and delinquent taxes are collected by Hidalgo County. For this month, the tax roll adjustments due to corrections, rollbacks, homesteads, drop years, etc., resulted in a net decrease of $60,970.98. Our collections for the month total $602,047.17, and we pay a monthly fee of $6,271. As of October, the district had only collected 1.31 of taxes compared to prior year 1.98, but keep in mind that the tax statements went out mid-October to latter part of October. So this percentages will increase significantly in the month of November and December. Excuse me, in the month of November, December, and January. That's when we collect most of our taxes. Item number 4 is the cash disbursements for the month of October and November. For the month of October, the total disbursements were $12,653,162.73, and this makes up payroll, accounts payable, any electronic transactions that we initiate, and the use of the district's purchasing cards. Then for the month of November, the total amount was $11,172,760.86. And once again, it's for accounts payable, the use of the district's purchasing cards, ACHs and wire transactions, and then for payroll as well. And then the last item on the agenda is the 2021-2022 budget calendar. Since the district is a July 1 fiscal year, we do start our process for the most part in December and January, and there will be different activities taking place from now until then. So the district can bring you a proposed budget in the month of June. The current plan date for the board adoption is June 23rd, 21. And because we are a July 1 fiscal year, in accordance with Texas Education Agency, the budget must be prepared by June 19th and must be adopted before June 30th. Throughout the next semester, we will be having different budget workshops to provide you information. The challenge that we have ahead of us is, of course, the legislative session and all the issues with the economic conditions of the entire world, pretty much, and how that may impact school finance. We will update the board accordingly through board workshops. And those are all the items I have. May I go over the agenda? Yes. May I go over the agenda, please, Madam President? Okay. So on the items for consent, we would like to renew the agreement for Nuestra Clínica. We're going to be moving the primary care and wellness agenda item to informational. And we would like to leave on the bids items 1 and 2 in consent. And we will bring a recommendation for the staff laptop computers. And item E, donations, will be in consent. And all the other items are informational. Item A, the annual financial report, will be presented to you shortly in the special board meeting tonight. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Remember, December 10th, Board of Trustees orientation at 6 p.m., which is tomorrow in the same place. And that's where we are going to be presenting the state of the district. And that is beneficial to new board members, but also to all board members. Now, you may come in person or you may join virtually. Okay, December 16th, we have our regular Board of Trustees meeting at 7 p.m. And then we also have scheduled a special board meeting for Friday. And I'd like the staff to provide us with an update with that, because we do need to make a decision whether we're going to continue with that board meeting or not. And we need to provide that information. Ms. Garcia, would you like to, you and Mr. Joel Garcia, talk about that?
Yes, Dr. Perez, good evening again. Uh, um, as you all are aware, the Texas Education Agency, through the federal government CARES Act funding, is providing an opportunity for districts to seek reimbursement on technology purchases for this pandemic. However, because the federal government has a deadline of the end of December in order to receive the devices, TA has shortened their deadline to December 12th. So that's this Friday that districts will have to submit their final application along with an invoice of the goods that they've either received already or will be receiving by December 30th. Now, in our case, we have already received approval, or we've submitted an application already and invoices for merchandise that we have already received. So we will be qualifying for some of that reimbursement. But we do have a pending order of 8,685 units, I believe, Chromebooks, that the company, the manufacturer actually, because we did not just work with the distributor, we spoke with the manufacturer many times already. The manufacturer is telling us that they cannot guarantee delivery by December 30th. As a matter of fact, they were anticipating it getting into the mainland US at the end of December, and it still would have to clear customs, and then they would have to do some setups and so forth. So there's just really no chance of that being received. So during this time and previously, we have been researching many avenues and contacting vendors all over the place that have said, well, we've got 400 units in stock, or we've got 1,000 in stock, and so forth. And as we've learned through the pandemic, that they'll promise you an amount, and then 2 days later, it's gone. It's been sold to someone else. So we have been able to secure 1,250 units from a company that is working with TEA through this program, and they have guaranteed shipment between 5 to 7 days. So we're hopeful that does arrive in time for us to seek that reimbursement. However, the balance of the order, the 8685, we will not be able to qualify for reimbursement. So we had found a company that had promised that they could get us up to 10,000 units, which we didn't even need that many. However, they were not Chromebooks, they were laptops, so that was very enticing. But we had a very short window within to call the special meeting, because you have to call it within 72 hours. And at the time that we got the information, it was 3 o'clock, and we had about an hour to call that meeting. So we went ahead and took that gamble. However, in further conversations with the company, we're not comfortable with the product. And also the guarantees that they're making, we do not feel that it would be a good venture for us. So we are recommending that we not proceed with that purchase, and we continue to wait in line with the current order that we have with Virtucom that was awarded back in July.
Okay, now, so the outcome would be that we will not need to have the board meeting after all, because as our technology department looked at the specs and so forth, it is a unit that will constantly need upgrades and so forth. And what we looked at, it seems like it's one of those little laptops that you kind of get for Black Friday. And they're really, not what we need. It would require a lot of upkeep, a lot of patches, a lot of different things. So it's not going to give us what we need. And yet it's $50 more than a Chromebook. So after a thorough research, the technology department said, no, we're not going to settle for that type of product. Now, what's going to happen is that I'm still going to write a second letter to the commissioner. We still contacted, because what they're telling us is that this is a federal government deadline. So we did contact, House of Representative Henry Cuellar, because, they invite us to meetings and so forth. So we have a good relationship with staff. And we explained to them, TEA is telling us this is a federal deadline, not their deadline, and there's nothing they can do about it. And this is the letter that we sent to TEA. So they are researching it to us. And Mr. Representative Henry Cuellar is in the Appropriations Committee. He is going to be having meetings the last couple of days this week and next week with the feds. And one of the things that we're also learning is that the state of Texas has about $3 billion that have not been used. So more than likely, deadlines are going to have to be moved. However, what are the implications to our school district? We would be getting a reimbursement of $2.8 million for this almost 12,000 units. So where is that money coming from? Originally, we are utilizing the instructional allotment funds, okay? And those funds are to be utilized for either technology, software, but those funds prior to the pandemic were earmarked for textbook adoptions. And we have a textbook adoption coming up for pre-K this spring. We must submit our order, purchase so that our teachers will receive training and implement the following fall. And as you know, we need these 12,000 units. Why? The pandemic is not going to end soon. We know. Parents will still want their children to continue with virtual instruction. So we'll need it for the spring and possibly fall, because the prognosis that we're getting is that more than likely the pandemic will end on the third or fourth quarter of the new year of 21. So with that in mind, where will the funding come from? Okay, it's going to have to go back into fund balance. We need the items because we're going to have to reimburse we're going to have to buy our pre-K materials. In years past, the state would provide an allotment for instructional technology and an allotment for textbooks. Then they did this and they merged it and they said, you buy what you need, either technology or instructional materials. It's up to you. So right now, when we put the order in July, our urgent need was technology. But prior to that, because remember, with the biennium, that money needed to last us for 2 years. So we knew that the adoption was coming. And so we saved that money for the pre-K adoption. So the bottom line is we're going to have to buy these devices and we're going to have to buy the pre-K adoption. So we can move on and pay with the instructional allotment, knowing that when the adoption comes, we're going to have to take it out of fund balance. If TA and the feds do not move the deadline to give us that reimbursement. So we're doing everything in our power to advocate with the powers that be that can advocate for us in this manner.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. So you're saying that the order was placed in July, correct?
In July.
Madam
Okay,
President.
that is
but,
correct.
but it's not.
Madam President and Dr. Pettis, this isn't an agenda item for this board meeting, so the item would have to be, we would not be able to discuss that today.
Oh, no,
at this time.
no.
It's just
Okay.
to give, it's okay for
No,
you to give
just
information about why we're not having a
Okay.
Friday meeting, but as far as the
Yes.
deliberation amongst the board members, we would not be able to do that.
Thank you,
Okay,
David.
because
Thank
we
you.
don't have it on the agenda.
My apologies for
Okay.
interrupting.
Okay,
That's okay.
fine.
Thank you, David.
However, we can add it for next Wednesday's meeting.
Yes, please
And
do.
so that we can provide an update
Mhm,
and so forth.
mhm.
Now, and what I told the staff, okay, can we continue? But the bottom line is the deadline is Friday. So
Yes, at that point, it's by next meeting, it's nothing we can do about it.
No. So that's why we needed a Friday meeting when these people were promising us that they were going to give us tablets, but in doing our research, you know, with and Mr. Garcia, can you add more to that? The type of tablet they were providing? And we got the notice like at 2:00, and we said, okay, Mr. David Henson, okay, and Ms. Gallardo, okay, we know we got to post within 72 hours. We need to do it right away. But can you tell us what the product looks like and why
Yes.
you don't recommend it? Your staff doesn't recommend it?
Yes.
David, can we do that or no? No?
I really think that we're getting into ground that's more
Okay,
discussing
then-
the substance of it.
Okay, then we'll stop. We'll stop.
David, I understand and thank you
Okay.
so much for bringing it to our attention. However,
Okay.
yes, I would like to discuss it further on
On
Friday
Wednesday.
and on Wednesday
Okay.
and have the questions
Okay.
that we want answered.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
So,
Again, thank
okay,
you.
so at this time, we are recommending not to have the Friday meeting, Mr. Garcia?
Correct.
We're gonna cancel it because
Yes.
there's no way we can find the product. Okay.
Correct.
David? Okay, thank you. And, you know, I don't want you to waste your time because of the fact that there's no way we can pull it through. Okay? All right. Next item is that we will have a playoff game over at Tom Landry Stadium on Friday. So you won't have to worry about having a board meeting and arriving late to the game. And we
Wonderful.
have tickets. Yes, we have tickets for our board members. And we're really looking forward. And we're so excited that our Mission Eagles are in the playoffs. So
That's
let's
right.
go out and support them. Also, December 21, 2020 through January 3rd, 2021, we have winter break. All campuses, departments, and administration building offices will be closed. Yes, ma'am. Okay, you already passed out the envelope? Okay, okay, yes. Thank you, Ms. Gallardo. Okay, that's all we have.
I second the motion.
Juan, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
804.
805. 804.
804. Mhm. What other meeting?
What other meeting? We do? Or is it tomorrow?
No, it's
It's
tomorrow.
tonight.
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. We have it